In Jack Kerrigan's absence, unless there's any objection, I'll chair the meeting tonight. I'd been asked by Bell and Tammy, any objection? So we'll call the Monday, May 19th, 2025 Planning and Zoning meeting to order. And our first order of business tonight on the agenda is the swearing in of new board members. And we have 2 of the 3 here. Tammy, do your thing.
That's just an extra copy. That's the one he will sign right there. Yes, we'd like to welcome our new members. We have Lisa Logan at Post 5, which she was sworn in on Friday. And we have Mr. Bruce Van Arsdale tonight. So if you don't mind standing and raise your right hand. And just repeat after me. Your little cheat sheet right there. Okay, ready? I state your name.
Bruce Van Arsdale.
Do affirm that I will support and defend
Do affirm that I will support and defend
the Constitution and government of the United States
the Constitution and government of the United States
and the state of Florida.
and the state of Florida.
That I will support and defend the ordinances of the city of Mexico Beach.
That I will support and defend the ordinances of the city of Mexico Beach.
That I am duly qualified to hold office
That I am duly qualified to hold office
under the Constitution of the state
under the Constitution of the state
and the charter of the city of Mexico Beach.
and the charter of the city of Mexico Beach.
And I will well and faithfully perform the duties
And I will well and faithfully perform the duties
of the Planning and Zoning Board of the city of Mexico Beach, Florida,
of the Planning and Zoning Board of the city of Mexico Beach, Florida,
on which I'm about to enter.
on which I am about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Perfect. Congratulations.
I'm going to pin on a safe pencil.
Tammy, if you'll call the roll.
Okay. Mr. Kerrigan is excused tonight. Mr. Larry Henderson is excused as well. Mr. Elzey,
Here.
Mr. Crease,
Here.
Ms. Logan,
Here.
Mr. Van Arsdale.
Here.
Perfect. Next item of business. I'll say first item of business. Next item of business, sorry. Replat 14th Street. Alarm?
Yes, good evening. For the record, Alara Mills Dutcher with the Planning Collaborative, and we were the planner review of this request to take 2 parcels on 14th Street and create 3. And those parcel ID numbers are identified in your packet in the report that you received, but are addressed as 102 and 104 14th Street and in Mexico Beach. So the analysis includes a review of the density requirements of the comprehensive plan and the appropriate zoning category, and against any other relevant issues or regulations that the city has, including lot area requirements and lot size requirements. And the review also included a stormwater review and a floodplain management review, which you should also have in your packet. So we have found that this meets the requirements of your comprehensive plan and land development regulation. We have no planning issue with the request. I would like to make note, though, that Julie and I had discussed some of the statutory requirements for a survey, and just as a noticing in the packet that some of those things have not yet been submitted, or at least not included in this packet, so she might have them in the office and just didn't include them in the packet. But there will be additional information that the applicant needs to provide in order to conduct the replat. But this, for the planning purposes tonight, we found there were no issues with the code or the comprehensive plan.
Perfect. Opening public discussion. Any comments from the public? Seeing none, we'll close public discussion and have discussion at the table. Any comments from board members?
I have a question. What are the average lot sizes on that street?
We did conduct that analysis on behalf at the first, which was the first stop of this request, and found that they were, so there is a regulation that says they cannot be less than 10% smaller than the average size of those in the area, which area is not really defined. So we took a quarter-mile radius and found that this did not go against that regulation. So they are within the parameters of what's existing in the area. If you want to know the exact average, I don't have that memorized, but we did check that.
Well, I do have the exact information because I went on the map, on the Bay County Property Appraiser's website and looked at it. And while the two lots in question fall in line as to the acreage of most of the surrounding, the thing that stands out to me is that currently the two lots in question are in line with the frontage footage, meaning the width of each one. And if those are replatted and split into 50-foot lots, they will be outliers, in my opinion, because they will be significantly smaller across the front. Most of the lots, or every single lot across the street there on 14th, is between 75 feet and 150 feet across.
The frontage.
And the other lots are set on the same side, excluding the city property, because I'm just not looking at that, are 75, and the two lots between the two in question and the city lot are the smallest at 60 feet across. So creating three 50-foot lots, while they would be acreage-wise the same, would be significantly smaller on frontage. And to me, that is something that has to be looked at as well, because when you look at the size of the lots, especially facing them, you have more room between the houses with these wider lots. So to me, putting three 50-foot lots would create outliers and would not fit in with what's there. And on the adjoining 13th Street side, same thing applies. So I think that should be taken into consideration.
Any other comments from the table?
I went down there today and looked at the lots in question, and I was kind of surprised. You know, you look on here and you see this street that comes around. There's actually a street that's supposed to go back through there, and it comes out right next to these two lots here that are crossed. And looking at the property on the other side of 14th Street, they're split up small. So these two lots that are going to turn into three, they're still going to be bigger than half the lots across the street. So they meet the requirement that's in the LEC.
A couple of things for me. Number one, I have done work and represented Lee and Sons in the past, so I need to make that disclosure. Second, as Laura alluded to, this is not a plat. This is anything, this is, even says it's just a sketch. So what I guess you're looking at is the conceptual side of the replat as opposed to an actual replat. There's no dedication language, there's no actual survey, so I would think that has to be submitted.
Yes.
I'm assuming those are some of the things that you said still had to be added to the package before.
Yes, before the city council can, they have to sign the
Right.
replat. Before that can happen, there's some information that still needs to be submitted, including, I think that the request is before you because the person who's applying wants to purchase the property to kind of, it's a due diligence period for them.
Does anyone know why they want to split these two into three?
Probably to get an extra house in there and make money, it's a builder. I went down to Fort Sells with the signs were there, and it's an LLC builder who's going to put it in there, and he wants to split them. I mean, you go on a property appraisal, there are three houses right across the street, all of them lots of .17. So I mean, this lot is going to be bigger even after it's done. And looking at the street, there's a few bigger ones down at the end but just about 90% of the houses that are there now are rentals.
And again, that's what I said, that the acreage is basically the same. It's the width of the other lots, because I have them all listed here, that run 75 to 150 feet across and on the other side. So there's a big difference to me in that.
Yeah, that's because these are 50 feet deeper. The ones across the street are 50 feet less in length. That's why they're a little bit wider. And I don't know what that street, if it's ever gonna be put in as swampland, if you look at the few lots that are next to it, they're low. They gotta be down 10 feet from the property that they wanna split, where that road is supposed to be that goes around. There must be a 10-foot drop back there. So I don't assume that road would ever go in. So
Which
that
road?
city, is
Which
that
road
city
are you
property
talking
back there? Right, if you look at the property appraisers, you have, right here is a road, comes all the way down.
Is it road or an easement?
Well, it's probably an easement for a road, but at the end you got that Meisler, whatever it's called on here.
What we call that is a paper street. It's on the map, but it's not developed.
Yeah.
But it is owned by the city.
Okay, okay.
Are there any additional comments that anyone wants to make about this? If there aren't anymore, would anyone like to make a motion to approve, to deny, or to table this action?
So we don't have all of the information, there is information missing.
For the plat,
That's for the plat.
yes.
So you really can't recommend a replat because you don't have that document in front of you. What you have is a conceptual idea, and it's been analyzed by Laura and your engineer. It's conceptually, but the actual replat is not here.
Do we need to wait on it, or can we, can we recommend it for approval pending those items?
Well, I mean, do you have them, Mel?
I do not have them.
Okay.
So my question would be, why did this come to us if that's not something that we could do?
I do not know.
I don't know. I did mention that we needed that information, so, like I said, I don't know if she obtained it, and I just am not aware. I work with Julie on these issues.
You said the lots were for sale.
What's that? Well, there's for sale signs on them, but I think they've already been purchased. But there's still signs pending on both the lots. Since the document, nobody knows what that is, it hasn't been completed yet, I'll make a motion that this be tabled to the next meeting.
Is there a second?
If you want me to list what the statutes require before you.
Sure.
So they require a boundary survey, and what they have in here, like Tim mentioned, is a sketch. I don't know, I'm not a surveyor, I don't know how difficult it is to take that from a sketch to a boundary survey. I don't think it's very difficult, but I can't testify to that. So they're required to submit a boundary survey by a professional engineer. They need a title opinion of an attorney at law or property for the property information showing record of title and mortgages are satisfied. The plat must be prepared by a professional surveyor, and any dedication the owner or owners are going to execute. And then they have to follow requirements of what needs to be on the plat by the statutory and our own land development regulations.
It'll be a Mylar, which is a different looking document. It's kind of clear, and it'll have all the city council members' names on it. It'll have, as the Lord just mentioned, the title opinion. It'll have signature lines for all those people on it. So that's what I'm saying. This is not an actual replat.
So will your table, motion to table include those items before we see it again?
Yes, that has to be
Well,
completed.
To
Once
bring
it's
it back
completed,
with
bring
an
it back.
actual
Yes.
replat.
Yes. Is there a second to that motion?
I second.
Tammy,
Do,
do you have a question?
do,
I'm sorry.
I do, do we want to table that to a date certain? So,
Well, it'll depend upon when the developer wants to bring that stuff in.
I would say as soon as they could get it in, we'd get it at the next meeting.
okay.
I mean, that can be
I didn't
controlled
know
by
if that would
them.
require re-notification. I don't know if this was noticed to the neighbors.
It was. Yes, it was. So the
So let me
next,
back up for that. It said,
Next
is there a,
meeting is
June 2nd.
June 2nd, so I mean, that's not that far away.
We just have
Yeah,
to
I
make that in a motion, so we won't have to re-advertise.
Does it have to go back out again?
that's my question. If he has that date certain, does it not have to be re-advertised?
That's correct.
Were you willing to have that date certain in your motion to June 2nd?
I'll add to the motion, the table.
I'm just concerned that if they haven't prepared this information, it's gonna take them longer than 2 weeks, especially with the holiday coming up, so,
Then they can table it again, though.
okay.
So if you table it with a specific date, and bring it back then, and if it's not completed, then you just table it to the next specific date and time
Okay.
to prevent the re-advertising.
The motion will include the table it until our regular scheduled June 2nd meeting.
Are you okay with that?
Yes.
Okay, now will you call the roll?
Okay. Mr. Priest,
Yes.
Mr. Elsey,
Yes.
Ms. Logan,
Yes.
and Mr. Van Arsdale.
Yes.
LDC review for the second or third meeting as we try to get started. Mel and Laura, I'm assuming y'all had some conversations in the last week or two?
As a matter of fact, we have.
Okay.
And I'll start, and then I'll turn it over to Kurt.
All right.
When I came back, I was hoping to be further along in the process than we were, and I'm sure you all feel the same way. What we've gotten so far is a good start, though. You know, this matrix that was prepared at least gives us some guidance as to what to look for and where it is in the LDC. That's all good information. But I'm kind of old school. I kind of want to see the actual LDC with strikeouts and underlines about what we're taking out, what language we're adding in, and that sort of thing. So that's where I think Alara comes in, because we got things on both sides. You know, Alara's been doing this for what, 20-some years, and I work with in other communities as well, and I don't find a planner better than her anywhere. But we have what is that local flavor that we really need to kind of help. So with those two extremes coming together, I think we can have a good product when we get done. So we did, during the budget season last year, we had a proposal for Alara to do everything and guide the city. And that was a little bit above what our budget would allow at the time. So we cut that down to $50,000, which very little has been spent to this point. So for the next few months, we have, not that we want to spend money, but we have the capability of getting a lot done with that amount of money. At the next budget process, which I'll be a part of, we can budget more in the next year to finish this out. But we need someone to do what I call take the laboring oar and do the work to get everything down on paper. And that's the brilliant work that Alara's going to do for us. So Alara, if you could kind of take it from there.
Thank you, and thank you for the kind words. I appreciate that. So when I approach a big project like this, whether it's a comprehensive plan or a land development code, I first like to go through the entire document to make sure what is written isn't contrary or inconsistent with Florida statutes or the comprehensive plan. Or if there's any other plans that might be effective, like with some communities, they have a joint land use study for the military installations, just to kind of check through to see if anything needs to be updated to be better aligned with those other documents and those other programs. So that's my first blush, and I like to go through it and check all that. And then the second blush is to go through and realizing the community wishes and where the community sees themselves growing and moving in a forward direction, and incorporate some of the things that we've gone through even just a year ago with that study of Mexico Beach and the community input sessions. And then just knowing what I know, just having been working for you all since 2017. So updating the land development code accordingly, and also creating certainty in some of the language that might be arbitrary, and making sure that there's clarity so that anybody who reads it can understand it, where sometimes we can read something and it just doesn't make any sense. Just removing unnecessary things. Maybe there's some things in Florida statutes that we don't need to repeat, or we just need to defer to. And then at the same time, while I'm doing all this, I'll be referring to the matrix that was conducted, that was put together by Chris Truitt, and making sure all of those items have been checked off for inclusion into the code. So I haven't started heavily on this because that's not the direction I received to date. So I can guarantee you I won't have anything to propose to you on June 2nd, but possibly can start bringing you things at the next meeting. And wanted to talk through strategy with you, if we wanted to just start from one and go through on the chapters of the land development code, or if there's another strategy you prefer. I can, as I write though, I usually write in order by chapter, and I don't skip around a lot unless I need to where there's one thing that's referenced might be impacting another regulation over in another chapter, then I will skip around. But I generally like to go through from start to finish, like you might read a book, to make sure that I haven't missed anything.
Before we get input from here, even though it's not on the agenda, if the public has any comment about that, do you have any comment about what Laura Bell?
I'm ready to be able to get started.
So no comment. And we'll bring it to the table for comments. I appreciate that. I appreciate Chris putting this in the format that he did. However, it led to a lot of confusion over the two previous planning and zoning board meetings we had about this issue, about going back and forth and different ideas about where to start first. I personally like your idea of let's start at the beginning and go forward as far as we can go with that. Obviously, some things are more important than others, and someone else may have a different opinion about wanting to spend more time or resources on certain efforts. But I certainly agree with the coordinated approach of doing it. Is that chronological? It's not chronological, but
Succinctly?
Yes. Any other any comments from the table?
Well, now that we know there's more than $50,000 involved, which that's what came about last year, like you said. So this will go again in the next budget. It makes sense to do that. And it only makes sense to start from the beginning and go back, because I mean, as soon as you start in the zoning part, it refers to other sections. So to try to skip around in different sections, I think would be a nightmare. It's better to start from page 1 and work your way back. And like I said, if you only get so much done, then we wait for more money to finish it up and go again. So I mean, that makes sense.
I certainly agree. I've said from the beginning, having experienced this before, we have to start from the beginning and go through. There's too many interrelated parts.
And there was at least one council member that had been saying that over and over and over, that we should do it that way as well. Any comments? No. What do you need us to do?
Just in agreement that that's the greatest strategy there is, and I'll start working on
I
it.
think you heard that. That's pretty much the greatest strategy that we've heard thus far. So thank you.
Okay.
But just to be clear, you probably will not be looking at it at the June 2nd meeting.
I won't be able to get anything
And that's
together to
fine.
present to you that quickly. That's just a
That's
couple
fine.
weeks away.
And we had talked at previous meetings about trying to do more than one meeting a month if necessary, but that may or may not be the case with the way that you're approaching
I agree.
It
When we went through the comprehensive plan back in 2018, and Mel was here to remember that, we had a lot of meetings with the P&Z, but it was a long hearing schedule. And at the end, I think we were meeting a couple times a month, but generally we're meeting about once a month. And I'm not indicating we should take that long, but I've got to be able to catch up and have enough to present to you also.
Well, I
So
think we should take as long as it needs to be, and not rush through it or delay it, either one. I would encourage, and we do a great job of it, but one of the things that we, again, said as we started this process is that we would try to provide as much public notice about the specific topics that we will be reviewing at each P&Z, because some members of the public may have more interest in some topics than others in that, so that they have an ample opportunity to be here to voice their concerns. But I think it's great. Yeah. Thank you.
So just to be clear, you're not focusing on the first 10 anymore. You're just starting at the beginning. And of course, when you go through it, you'll have it's not old school. It's required by law. But you'll also have an ordinance that then adopts whatever changes you all recommend and the council approves. So I'll put this one away and start over.
I will keep it just because we want to make sure that we touch on all those items.
Out of curiosity, as we are going through this, are we giving any thought to what happens when somebody wants to build something that they need the LDR for? The old rules stay in place until this new is adopted. So,
That's correct.
okay. That to me constitutes a problem, but I think I'm the only one
I
who
mean,
sees it
is
that
it,
way.
I'm assuming you could do ordinances for different sections along the way, but
There's nothing to prohibit that,
But it's not the
and I
ideal
think
way.
that's why the council initially took a chunk and said, let's try to start with a chunk, but,
Well,
but you could adopt, Article 1 changes,
right.
and then have a second ordinance for Article 2, so forth and so on, depending on how far you get in the discussion.
the only reason I don't prefer it that way, because if we get through Article 1 and then we get to Article 7 and Article 7 causes something to change in Article 1, then we have to go re-adopt yeah.
Well, I don't disagree with that, but
Yeah.
I'm just saying they
Right.
could do that.
They could.
But,
Yep.
but
I'm sure
at the
Mel
end
would-
of the day, you're gonna wanna get through this fairly expeditiously
Yes.
because it's not effective until it's adopted.
and I'm sure Mel, you'll explain that when you give an update on the LDC review,
Absolutely.
how we're going about it. So, thank you.
Right.
Perfect. Yeah. Are there any other comments for tonight? This might be a record time for P&Z. I'm pretty excited when I sit down. If not, then motion to adjourn?
I'll second that. Motion to adjourn?
Perfect. We're out of here. Thank you very much. Enjoy your family tonight.
I will.